Welcome back everyone, it's Charlie. We have our first official look at the Morbius character ahead of the trailer that they're going to be dropping next week, so we'll break it down. If you're new to the channel, we're also doing a movie ticket giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave all your predictions for the Morbius movie. If it wasn't clear, this is going to be a spin-off of the Venom movie. Yes, it is related to what's going on with their Spider-Man plans inside the Venomverse. We know a little bit about how that's going to work. I'll explain that after I talk about what's going on with the actual Morbius movie. Cannot wait to see J. Jonah Jameson showing up in a post-credit scene shitposting about vampires. It's gonna be fun. People are saying that this teaser leaked, but I think that Sony actually dropped this on purpose in advance of the trailer just to get people hyped up. And for the most part, I think people are happy with the CG special effects because it does look pretty comic book accurate, but this doesn't give you a really good idea for what the actual movie's going to feel like. It just gives you an idea for what he's going to look like. It's a picture of him right after he's gotten done feeding on someone, and it's an homage to this comic book panel. Like an over-the-shoulder shot, he's looking to see if someone caught him feeding. Oh my god, what's going on here? Because he can't control his hunger. If you were a big fan of the Wesley Snipes Blade franchise way back in the day, there were originally plans to do the Morbius character in one of those sequels. They even have a deleted scene from the first Blade movie. They were going to introduce him during the sequel before Guillermo del Toro came on and did his version of Blade 2. The footage is kind of janky, but this is that deleted scene.
I never thought I'd be so happy to see the sunrise. I need to get back to the lab if I'm gonna cure you.
It's over. You keep your cure. I've never felt better. Besides, as long as there's a war going on, I still have a job to do.
Oh, yeah? Then you're back on the clock.
I'm a big fan of Guillermo del Toro, but it would have been cool to see that version of Morbius if that had panned out. If you have no idea who the Morbius character is, or you never read the classic Spider-Man comics, he is a Spider-Man character. He debuted during Amazing Spider-Man in the early 70s. It was basically Marvel wanting to do their version of a Dracula character, because the 70s was a really big time for the Dracula character in pop culture, so Marvel just wanted to get in on that. Morbius was their attempt at an original character based on Dracula though. But the funny thing about this is because Sony doesn't have the rights to do the Dracula character, Marvel Studios does because of the way the comic books worked out and where the Dracula character debuted in Marvel Comics. There's a rumor right now that Dracula is actually going to show up during the Werewolf by Night Moon Knight series that they're doing and during the Blade movie that they're going to be doing with Mahershala Ali during Marvel Phase 5. Maybe as part of their grand sharing arrangement with the Spider-Man character, Marvel will also loan out the Dracula character for their Sony Venomverse to do Morbius stuff with in sequels if the first movie is successful. But the whole idea of Sony doing Morbius is them testing the waters with other spin-off movies. They of course want to create their own version of the MCU because it's been so successful for Disney and Marvel, and as part of the way the rights with the Spider-Man character work, they have access to over 900 different characters. Morbius is called the living vampire, but he only has vampire-like qualities. He didn't get his abilities through the vampire bite like most do. He started out as a Nobel Prize-winning biological scientist. He had this rare condition that was eating his cells alive, so he developed a treatment using vampire bats' blood and electroshock therapy. When he eventually tried it on himself, that caused an accident that gave him his vampire-like qualities, turning him into quote-unquote a living vampire. The way that Sony in the Venomverse is setting him up though is to be an anti-hero just like the Venom character. Yes, I definitely think that they're setting them all up for a crossover in Maximum Carnage, so Morbius will wind up teaming up with Venom, and now because of the Sony-Marvel sharing deal, Tom Holland's Spider-Man will also cross over with them eventually too. You may have also seen the rumors about what they're doing with J. Jonah Jameson. So Sony controls the JJ character. They loaned him out to the MCU for Spider-Man Far From Home for that great post-credit scene. I thought it was a great way to reintroduce the character and also sort of connect it to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man era because they kind of skipped over J. Jonah Jameson during Andrew Garfield's run. So if you haven't seen it, the rumor is now that Sony's going to use him as an early point of crossover to weave together all their Venomverse movies in the Tom Holland Spider-Man MCU movies. So he showed up at the end of that movie, so he exists in the MCU now. But the rumor now is that he's going to cameo during the Morbius movie and during Venom 2 in the same type of role doing the same thing. Just total shitposting about the main character of each of those different movies. So you can imagine him going on and on about vampires existing in the real world. You thought they were fake. No, they're totally real. We have live footage. We're going to air it now. It's a really easy slam dunk, so I high-five whoever had the idea to use J. Jonah Jameson to connect all these dots together. If you didn't see it recently too, Sony also created a special, separate, real website that you can visit for the dailybugle.net. That was the one that they referenced during Spider-Man Far From Home post-credit scene. Dailybugle.net's J. Jonah Jameson has a live report. If you go to the website, it's basically him going on and on about all these crazy theories about why Avengers Endgame and the snap happened, why everyone came back, about the elementals that Mysterio created, how there are weird creatures running around. So Sony is now using it as a viral marketing place for all their Spider-Man related stuff, and that'll probably wind up including Venom stuff when we get to Venom 2 coming out later this year and Morbius later this summer. Really good example of how they've used that for viral marketing is that after Spider-Man Far From Home came out, the movie was done, they didn't shoot any new footage for the movie itself, but they shot a bunch of new promos with J.K. Simmons doing his J. Jonah Jameson thing as if you were in his studio and he was still reporting on Spider-Man stuff.
J. Jonah Jameson here. Spider-Man, a psychopath wielding powers he has no right to possess, trying to pass himself off as a hero. Well, let me tell you something, kid. You're no hero. Mysterio, that's a hero. You are a criminal, a miscreant, a masked marauder, a menace. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
So that's not something that they did for the Spider-Man Far From Home movie. That's just something that they're doing with this new dailybugle.net website. I know there are a lot of questions about how Spider-Man is going to figure into all this, and later this summer, Marvel is going to start shooting Spider-Man 3, so are they going to have some sort of post-credits tag in that will imply how he will eventually cross over with the Venom characters? When Kevin Feige made the announcement about the new sharing deal, he referenced the multiverse and Spider-Man jumping between cinematic universes in addition to different planets of the multiverse. Right now, Sony is developing a Madam Web movie. My early guess is that they'll use Madam Web as a way to explain how he crosses universes, because otherwise you'd have to use someone like Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch, or someone capable of that level of technology or magic, and it sounds like based on the sharing arrangement between Marvel and Sony, Sony has the rights to reference any Spider-Man related stuff from the MCU, but not the Avengers, not the Quantum Realm or anything like that, so I don't think that the Quantum Realm is going to be the way that they use to get Spider-Man between Sony's Venomverse and the MCU. The Morbius movie was shot to make it look like it was happening in New York City, and Venom 2 looks like it's shooting scenes set in and around New York City. Spider-Man is local to New York City, even though technically he's in the MCU right now. You can kind of see that they're bringing these characters into each other's orbits. Eventually they'll start crossing over, probably in advance of a big Maximum Carnage team-up movie where they all team up against the Carnage character. So most important characters in this movie are Jared Leto's Michael Morbius character, who becomes Morbius the Living Vampire, his love interest, Martine Bancroft, who herself becomes a vampire eventually, and then Loxias Crown, aka the Hunger character, played by Matt Smith. You heard it right, Matt Smith is going to be the villain of the Morbius movie. He's not quite the exact same thing as Morbius in the comics, but he has the same blood disease that eventually causes him to have to feed on other living things in order to survive, so he's also very vampire-like. We don't have to wait that long before they're going to drop the actual trailer. That's happening Monday. Of course, I'll do an Easter egg video for it, and we'll find out what the movie is actually going to feel like. I think we all kind of wondered what Venom was going to be before we actually saw footage, but at least for right now, it seems like they've nailed the look down. So everybody just post your reactions in the comments, and let me know, what do you want them to do with the Morbius character inside this larger connected Spider-Man and Venom universe? I know that a lot of people asking if this is going to prevent Jared Leto from ever playing the Joker again. There is a version of the Jared Leto Joker that's going to be used during the Birds of Prey movie, but Jared Leto himself was actually filming the Morbius movie when they were shooting Birds of Prey. So any Joker stuff that you see happening during Birds of Prey next month, because the movie's coming out really soon, is going to be a body double or him just off screen. It's not Jared Leto actually being in the movie himself. Let me know if there's any bonus videos that you want me to do or big requests for Spider-Man videos. While you wait for everything, click here for that brand new Doctor Strange 2 announcement that Marvel just made, and click here for my new Deadpool 3 video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.